So many people ask this question, is there a correct way to prioritize? Well, there are so many ways to prioritize. You might have heard of a lot of frameworks for prioritization. Some of the top ones are like Kano model, right? So you look at what are the basic features, performance, and delighters, and then you make sure that all the basic, the most needed features are done first. The RICE model is very popular as well. You look at what is the reach and impact and what is the effort that is needed to build these items. And then you look at the value, the return of investment, and that is how you prioritize. Must, should, could have, won't do. An auction, which is buy a feature. You basically try your customers in a game and you ask them to bid on features, and the top bidding items are something that you prioritize higher. And then there are many, many more features as well. But again, the question, is there a correct way to prioritize? Yes and no. Yes, because all of these frameworks are proven. Many people out there use these frameworks successfully. But every product manager has their own variations of how they use these frameworks. It is not essential and sufficient to just copy a framework and use it exactly the same way. Feel free to modify the framework to your own needs. Look at the processes within your organization, how your team works, how your engineers work with you, how your different stakeholders communicate with you. And then based on all of that, feel free to tweak these frameworks. So understand, adopt, and modify. The 3 steps. Understand any framework that you pick, be it RICE or Moscow. Adopt it in whatever work you're doing in a company, and then modify it as per your own needs. And then keep on trying as many frameworks as possible until you find whatever is the best that works for you and for your stakeholders. But there are actually some guidelines for you to choose the right prioritization model. Eliminate bias, eliminate subjectivity as much as possible. So any framework that you pick up, make sure that you are not basing it only in terms of subjective data, in terms of opinions, hearsay, anecdotes. Use facts and not opinion, and get alignment. Very, very important. As product managers, you have to get alignment on at least a bunch of things that you do on a daily basis. Prioritization framework is very, very important process that you implement in your company, in your team. It's very important that you get that alignment from your stakeholders. When I say stakeholders, people in engineering, people in your own leadership, product group, design group, marketing, product marketing. So make sure that everybody understands the way in which you prioritize your items. They are aligned on it. They agree that the model that you choose for prioritization is the right one. And then they kind of finally look up to you the right way how the tasks are ordered in the backlog. Now, objective prioritization, which is working on data using facts, makes the prioritization framework self-driven. And why this is important for a product manager is because the more self-driven the prioritization framework is going to be, the more time you will have at hand to be involved in more strategic activities. So I'm sure not many of you really, really love kind of these tactical tasks of prioritization, looking at each and every task and kind of going to the backlog, grooming the backlog. You might be more interested in more strategic initiatives, like thinking about what to do next, talking to your customers, talking to your stakeholders, both inside and outside the company. So if you have a prioritization framework which is self-driven, you will have much more time at hand in getting involved in those things. So that is the advantage, and that's what makes these objective prioritization frameworks so lucrative. Now, pitfall number 2, making decisions on emotions and gut feeling without objectivity is very, very risky. So gut feeling is another very common phrase that you might have heard. Product managers take decisions on gut feeling. Well, gut feeling is fine as long as you are backing the gut feeling with the right facts and right data. Without objectivity, it becomes very difficult for you to justify your decisions. Prioritization is no different. Make sure that whenever you are prioritizing your items, you back it with the right justification and the right data, so that whenever questions you on why you prioritize A against B, you have the answer for that. You're not just saying that it was my gut feeling, it was the intuition that I had because of which I made that decision. So make sure that you are avoiding this pitfall. As long as you work as a product manager, you have to make sure that you're working as much as possible on data and less on opinion.